G'day everyone, it's me the anti-theocrat back with another one. I thought I'd leave International Women's Day alone. I generally leave it alone because the women in my family don't participate in the event. It's a very, well-to-do women's thing, and we'll show that soon. But both of my partners work with the general public and could be in a position to do something for International Women's Day. One could put up displays for it, but both refuse to have any participation at all in the event. So, I generally feel I don't have much to say about the issue if the women in my life don't have anything to say about it. But this year, something flared up, and when I say flared up, it definitely flared up, that made this year worth note, because normally it's just, bitching about pink pussy hats being pink because not all vages are pink. But this year, they decided to go all out in South America, and a few other things that I thought I'd just dig into and have a bit of a talk about. So first of all is this event. I think what I learned from this video is if you want to clear a rabble of women, you should arm them. Arm them with something they can hurt themselves with. This video will cycle. I've got it on repeat. It's going to be in the background because I just think this is hilarious. I'm sorry. It's not hilarious for this woman whose leg's on fire, but, as a general thing, and she, let's face it, she was involved in the melee, so, she's part of the problem. But yes, I think the other thing I learned from this is don't throw your Molotov cocktails like a girl. Oh, I know you're not allowed to say these things. You're not allowed to say throw like a girl, as if, women are well known for their throwing ability. It was always them with the spears. So let's play this through, shall we? I've got it slowed down so we can see the event properly. We can see exactly who's where. So this is the start of it. Here we go. A stick is thrown, and then this weird-looking object here is thrown by this woman in the foreground. And here it falls short, and bang, it's in the woman. Here she is, turning away and heading for the hills. I bet she never owns up to having burned that other woman's leg and putting up her hands to pay for the medical bills or anything. Well, there you go. How to clear a group of women. Give them weapons that require throwing. So this was, I believe, in Brazil. The feminists get quite violent over there. I think it's time the rubber bullets were brought out in these countries myself. But here we go. Here's the only... So the worst affected victim is a woman, and as we can see, these people rushing in to help. A few of the protesters do. There's a few with their cameras just viewing and filming. But yes, here's the second guy. Professionals, obviously, on the scene to oversee things. And the professionals on site all seem to be male. Here we go. Some more blokes. Here's some blokes in uniform. And they've all raced in to help her out. Isn't that nice of them? But, anyway. This was the event that made me think International Women's Day this year was worth my time. So shall we take a quick look at other things going on around this day? This day which all the women in my life basically ignore. So I did this quick search, as you can see, on DuckDuckGo, International Women's Day. And what I found was, basically, this is the most privileged white woman event in the fucking world. There you go, you've got a well-to-do bloke giving a tribute to his daughter for International Women's Day. Otherwise... It's a very privileged white world's women. Oh, hang on. We got Oprah Winfrey. You can't talk much more privilege than that, but she's with that guy, isn't she? Anyway, as you can see, this is why most women do not participate, is because this is what it represents. Now, here's a great feminist calling card that we should all respect Islam, because it's a very feminist religion, you understand. But in Pakistan, International Women's Day, with shoes and stones, Islamists disrupt Pakistan rally. Now, that is some of the funniest shit I have heard, given the years of listening to feminists decrying the value of the burqa. In fact, a couple of years ago, weren't they handing out burqas so people could try them on and wear them? And, yeah, it turns out these ideologies are not compatible. Who'd have thunked it, huh? Weird. I don't know who these media sources are, by the way, left, right, or otherwise. I don't really care. The only one I know is this one, probably, the College Fix. I think they get bagged as right-wing, and I don't know that they are, but their writing is very good. So let's take a look, shall we? University of Oxford feminists, it's okay to platform speakers if we can't debate them. I thoroughly stand by my conviction to free speech. I think we should do away with hate laws because they inhibit free speech. I think that there are well and truly enough covers for discriminatory behaviour under discrimination laws without us needing them to cover what we talk and think about. So yes, what we have here is a story about the government threatens to regulate student groups for violating free speech, and that's a nice change, isn't it? So, but here we have the University of Oxford feminists marked International Women's Day in the most unusual way. Actually, I would call it the most usual way, by deplatforming a woman. I actually have been reading stories about a cry somewhere in the world, I can't remember where, for misogyny to be made a crime. Now, this has come up a few times, people wanting misogyny to be a crime, and I think that's well and truly covered by sexual discrimination laws, but they want to specifically gender this so that any hate against women is now illegal. But I think that creates a problem for feminists, because intersectionalists and TERFs don't exactly get along, and that's not to mention housewives, which both groups object to. So probably the greatest hater of women's, is feminism itself. It's a really in-group bias, which women are acceptable. So if you look at where actual hate against women is, it doesn't tend to be amongst men. Even gay guys love their mother and their female friends and will side with them over straight guys, in general. That's my experience. So yes, I think this could be, if misogyny was made a crime, I think that could be a real serious problem for feminists. Because misogyny isn't necessarily, it's more about hating women than it is men hating on women. And I think misandry is well and truly something that would be fought for in the courts. If misogyny was made a crime, you would see the fight to make misandry equally as criminal. And again, another problem for the feminists. So anyway, now they're responding to the criticism of a last-minute de-invitation of the former Home Secretary Amber Rudd, a decision announced by the university administration by claiming the event structure wasn't fair to them. Yeah, wasn't fair to them because they weren't allowed to scream and yell all the way through the talk. Someone else's talk, and they want to scream and yell all the way through it, and if they weren't allowed to scream and yell all the way through it, then everyone should shut up. I'd love to know how many feminists allow people to scream and yell through their talks, because I really think that if this is the grounds by which you are going to start banning people, you need to start banning feminists. They never let anyone else talk. In fact, their whole rhetoric here is the perfect example of what feminists do to stop other people talking. The United Women Oxford Student Society, well, there's a stupid thing, yanked its March 5th in conversation event with Rudd, also former Minister for Women and Equalities, 6 hours after telling potential attendees, I have trouble this morning, can't wait to hear all your questions. So yes, she was not only a woman and high up in government, but she was the Minister for Women and Equalities. But yeah, she's not allowed to speak because the feminists can't rant and rampage over the top of her. Very typical. And I know this news came up in other places, but I thought I'd use this one. It was a well-written piece. Okay, so let's have a look at my last item, shall we? From The Guardian, our favourite, now I know The Guardian, now they couldn't be much more left if they tried. International Women's Day, asylum seekers protest at Turkish border. Women and children part of thousands who took to the streets around the world, but some protests turned violent. Yeah, I would just like to point this out again. Some protests turned violent, and we'll see the result of that. There it is. Hey, do not throw your Molotov cocktails like a girl. Going back to our article. A female asylum seeker staged a demonstration at Turkey's border crossing. Now, I wonder who would have, put this together and what political goals they might have had in doing so. Helen Pidd and agencies. Female asylum seekers have staged a demonstration at the Turkish border demanding they be let into the EU as part of the protest around the world on International Women's Day. All over the globe, thousands of women took to the streets, including South America's campaign for access to abortion and topless demonstrations in London and Paris. Yeah, I don't have the pictures of that, but I probably couldn't show them here anyway. But yes, if you want to see stupid, the European topless stuff, that's just fucking stupid. And as to the South Americans, do we remember the woman whose leg got cooked? Yeah. Okay. There's a reason why I left that playing in the background. Women and children carried placards with the words, "Help us and don't kill us, we are human," at the border crossing between Turkey and Greece on Sunday, where thousands of migrants gathered since the Turkish president, who might not have anything to do with this, decided to open the Turkish side of the border. And yes, he'll have nothing to... Oh, look, they do have the photo of the idiots protesting topless. Look, I can tell you, YouTube, they fuzz the nipples, right? That's not really there. It just looks that way. In France, a clutch of virus deaths on Saturday, took the toll to 16, but Paris hosted several rallies, one of which was marred by violence that organisers blamed on police. Yeah, do you want me to show how the police caused the violence in South America again? Because I bet they did it exactly the same way in France. Other protesters around the world were also met with force. In Istanbul, Turkey, police fired tear gas on a crowd and pushed protesters away after local officials closed down streets leading to the city's main square. There's that religion of peace and feminist ally again. Okay. A demonstration in Kyrgyzstan also turned violent as police detained dozens of protesters, mainly women, after masked men attacked them and tore up their placards in the capital, Bishkek, Bishkek. Sorry, I should know that. I did know a Kyrgyzstani woman once, and a police spokesman said they were detained for their own safety and because police had not been warned about the rally. Well, yeah, don't have your permits, then fair enough. In any case, I may give up at this point. Basically, this is a movement for the well-to-do feminists of the world, and this is my intended finish. International Women's Day. International Women's Day is celebrated on the 8th of March every year around the world. It is a focal point in the movement for women's rights. Which rights exactly do women not have now? I would love to know. And I'd bet that's not in the countries where they're firebombing themselves. And it's odd because I would have called South American societies quite gynocentric, even patriarchal, if we're to use the feminist word for it, that the men are, they have that thing that feminists love to call machismo, whatever in the fuck it is. And, yeah, they do see themselves as the protector overlords. I would have thought that in the South American countries, but apparently that's a problem. And most of the attacks in South America seem to be on the church too for some reason, which I find really peculiar. Anyway, focal point of the women's rights movement. After the Socialist Party of America organised a Women's Day in New York City on February 28th, 1909, German delegates Clara Zetkin and Kate Ducker and others proposed at the 1910 International Socialist Women's Conference that a special Women's Day be organised annually. So this isn't just a celebration of the liberation of women or the right to vote or any particular rights. This is champagne feminism. Champagne socialism, sorry. But the same thing, really, because feminism has its roots in socialism. But, yes, this is essentially communists with skirts out rampaging. And I think in cases like this, it's time for the rubber bullets to come out and fuck them. Anyway, that's my bit of a rant for International Women's Day. Like I said, the women in my life don't participate in this. I don't know any woman in my life who was out marching, let alone staying home from work. There was another story I buried in my search somewhere. I just lost it, about how the women in the world, the women in the UK and around the world had participated in the women's strike. I do not know a single fucking woman who didn't go to work. And I didn't have any problem with finding a woman in my bed when I got there. So, I don't know what they're striking from or whose women are striking, but geez, what kind of guys are out there allowing their women to cuck them that way? When especially in places like Australia, America, the UK, there is no argument that there is a legal discrimination between men and women that puts women in a more powerful position. Thank you. That's my coverage of International Women's Day. I'm going to leave it at that. These well-to-do, well-dressed South American women who are trying to blow themselves up is the reason why I decided to cover this one this year, because for me, women being deplatformed by women who identify as feminist is just the way of life. Every woman I know is not representative of the feminist movement, and in being so is not recognised as being properly female by the feminist movement. What can I say? It's a religion. It's a cult. It isn't a movement for the rights of women. Because if it was, it wouldn't have a problem with the women in my life being anti-feminist. It's not like they gave up their vaginas to be anti-feminist. They just chose not to be members of a cult and follow its doctrines. Anyway, leaving at that, I've been the anti-theocrat. I will see you in the next one, and may your gods remain fictional.
Watching a YouTube video. They teach me every bloody thing how to find everything.